Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to talk to you about why I'm switching brands and why I feel like I have to switch brands. And I'm in a different sort of environment. I'm in my garage in my other studio. Those of you who have followed the channel for a while, you know that I have two YouTube channels. The channel that I spend all my time out here for is called Build a Better Bike, and that's my channel where I restore mountain bikes or other bikes or just do dream builds. And that channel has been very successful. In many ways, more successful than this one here, actually, in some ways. And so they're both my priority. I spend my time doing both, but there's a reason I'm out here, and I'll get to that here in a bit. Now, as I get into some of the reasons why I'm switching, I do want to re-emphasize how much I love Fuji. And if anyone here doesn't believe me, it's because you haven't watched any of my other videos, because I've dedicated I don't know, 6 years of my life, a large portion of hours to every week dedicated to just geeking out about Fuji, diving into Fuji. And you don't do that if you don't have a love for something. So if there's any doubt about my feelings for Fuji as a brand, as a camera, as a manufacturer, as whatever, all of the things, because I love just about everything about Fuji, including the people, the brand. It's because this is the first video of mine you've seen, and I don't blame you for that. But I would encourage you to go back and watch other videos, specifically the one I'll link to, which goes into the main reasons why Fuji has kind of captured my attention as a reviewer of cameras and lenses for, like I said, 6 years. Those reasons still remain true. Nothing in this video will invalidate all of those reasons why I love Fuji. In fact, no matter what happens, this camera is always going to be beloved to me and will never ever leave our home. Me and both Danae and I love the X100V so much. It's just such a fun camera to shoot with. If we were to reach for a camera just for the joy of shooting, it would be that one every single time. So those of you who are gonna be sad about me leaving Fuji as far as kind of full-time shooting, I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. But yeah, I am having to leave Fuji. So there's just two reasons why, but they're big reasons for me. And kind of the overarching thing, I guess, is that I have to make money now. I have to put on my big boy pants and be serious about where I allocate money, what kind of gear I use, because I am now a full-time content creator. That's my full-time job. Between the two channels I have, that's it. So many of you know in my last update video that I secured myself a new job because of an awesome lead, one of my viewers. And I did start that job, and I realized really fast, man, you guys, I think I'm just done with the tech world. I think it's just not for me anymore. I just can't do it. You know, my heart, not into it, absolutely not into it. Seeing a lot of the things that I've seen over and over again that are things that I've worked so hard at so many companies to change or to kind of craft the type of culture that I feel like I can exist in. I just didn't have it anymore. I didn't have the desire to do it again, even though it was a great company. My boss, I loved him. I got to know him just for a couple of weeks, and such a great guy, and the other people I was working with, but it wouldn't have been fair to them or to me to stick it out. And, you know, in December, I had worked really, really hard to develop partnerships and to make my channels make money, because I had to. We had very few other sources of income. And so I was doing pretty good with that. And then I got this job 2 weeks into it, and I realized it was a mistake. I thought I better jump ship now because I have all of these opportunities and I took that risk. And so now I'm full-time content creation. That changes your perspective on everything. For the 6 years prior, it had always been a hobby, part-time job, or whatever. It had just mostly been a passion project. And for a passion project, I'm gonna choose Fuji. But when it comes time to earn money, there are two very, very important things that I need as the type of content creation that I do, that are gaps for Fuji. There's no other way to say it. And the first is the durability department. And I think if I were, there's some personalities, people who baby their gear, who will treasure their gear, take care of it, just baby it. And that's not me. I'm not very good at that. As a run and gun, I do all my own shots, photo and video, especially here in the garage. I'm doing stuff, getting my hands greasy, moving bikes, moving machinery. There's a lot of dust. There's a lot of sparks. There's a lot of metal. There's a lot of objects and things that can fall and move, and it's all just me, and I'm a klutz. I have butterfingers. I drop my tools constantly. And I have dropped my Fuji X-T4 now twice. And it's all my own fault. I don't blame anyone but me. This is not Fuji's fault. But I damaged my 16-80, which is f4, which is the lens, the only lens I pretty much use here in the garage because of its minimum focus distance, its flexibility. And I damaged it, and it was still working, but I could tell the image quality wasn't on par perfectly. And then the nail in the coffin was 2 weeks ago. I dropped again my X-T4, and now it's really bizarre. The only thing that will work is video, which is fortunate because I could still shoot, I could still film, but I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't go to settings. If I did, it would get stuck. It would become unresponsive. I have to pull the battery out. And then if it would ever turn off on its own, again, I have to take the battery out, put it back in to get it to start. It's really weird. I couldn't go to settings. I couldn't take photos. If I switched to photo mode and tried to take photos, it wouldn't store them. So I could only do video, and that was, it was such a big hampering. It really slowed me down, but I didn't have the funds to be able to go out and buy a new camera. And also I was stuck with the choice. Do I go X-T5 or another X-T4? Yeah, so it was really, I was struggling with that decision quite a bit. And I just remember, when we started shooting as part-time portrait photographers in a wedding, I had the same problem then. I dropped stuff, but we had the 6D, the original 6D, and then two 5D Mark IIs, and those things were absolute tanks. Nothing could hurt them. They were impervious. They could withstand a nuclear attack, I swear. Those things were monsters, and they survived my abuse through thick and thin. And I've never had that same success with Fuji. I've always struggled. Fuji, I've damaged my gear, and I've always been okay with that. I always had the money to be able to buy new gear or get gear repaired. I've countless lenses have been damaged, again, because I have butterfingers. I'm just a kind of a klutz. But when I look at going forward, having gear that's going to survive, I feel so much more safe with Canon. Canon is more durable. It just is. Not only that, but their getting gear repaired by Canon is much more smooth, much more quick. The repair process for Fuji, as much as I love Fuji, it's a nightmare. It's ridiculous. It takes too long. As a professional, I can't be without my gear that long. They are very responsive. The ticketing system and management is ridiculous. This is US, and I know it's outsourced, so different. But the fact that it's outsourced, the fact that Fuji outsources its repair in different markets, it's just not the big priority. And I understand that because it's a different thing. It is for more of the hobbyists or the people who, for the experience of shooting, is more important than making money with it. So looking at Canon, it's a professional's brand, much more than Fuji is. Not to say that you can't be professional at Fuji. I'm gonna offend a lot of people out there, but you know what? I'm kind of past that. I don't care. So anyway, that's reason number one why I feel like I have to. That's a big enough reason right there on its own. The other is object tracking. Again, I'm my own videographer, and it takes a long time to set up shots. When I restore a mountain bike, a project that might take 40 hours or 80 hours, depending on how much time I spent, how detailed I am, which I am. I go to the nth degree to really make these bikes come back to life and look just absolutely brand new. I just absolutely love it. I have a lot of attention to detail. And so as a result, I care a lot about my shots too. And since I don't have a videographer, I use this. This is my best friend in the whole world. This is my second shooter. This is my Rhino Arc 2. It's not perfect. There's some usability things that I would improve if I had a company that did this, but this is the best one I've ever found. It's tough, it's durable. I mean, you can see how dusty it is and beat up. I use it constantly. I've got it down to an art. I know how to set this up to get my shots. The problem is, I have to shoot manually with Fuji. I have to set up the shot, the sliding shot, and try to make sure it's going to stay in focus the whole time. I do have the follow focus, but it's too loud. It makes way too much noise when I set that up on a lens. And so, because noise, sound, the ASMR of rebuilding bikes is so important, I can't use that. So, when I try to do continuous focusing with Fuji, it's just not good enough. It's all over the place, picks up my hands. It doesn't do object tracking like Canon can, absolutely can't. And so that's reason number two. Like I care a lot about the shots. I have too many out of focus shots, or when I try to do continuous focus, I have too many bouncing around and doing that kind of, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it, the warble sort of thing that Fuji does more than Canon. And I just need better focus tracking because I'm my own, I don't have someone else to rely on. I have to work on the bike and trust that the camera is remaining in focus. And it's gonna save me a lot of time to have a camera that I can rely on for that. So that's a big reason. I know this isn't, you know, most people out there that I'm talking to do not have these problems, but some of you do. And some of you find this interesting, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. So those are the two big reasons. It costs a lot of money to switch systems, and so that's a big decision. I didn't just do this on a whim. This has nothing to do with securing more views or less views or whatever. It is 100% a practicality, functionality decision. And for that reason, I'm in some ways I'm sad because Fuji inspires me. I feel inspired by picking up a device like this and using it. It fills me with just joy. Canon doesn't do that for me. It's much more functional, but you know, I got to get serious about earning money, about being functional. So that forces my hand a little bit. So like I said, it's really expensive. And so for that reason, I'm really grateful for the sponsor of this video, who is KEH.com. Those of you who've watched a lot of my other videos, you know that I have a great partnership with KEH, and there's a reason for that. I believe in them. I really love KEH, what they do for the photography community, what they do to preserve gear and to get it in the hands of people who deserve that gear. And as I kind of eliminate the last of my gear, my Fuji gear, other than, like I said, my X100V. I feel good knowing that that's all gonna go to a good home through KEH. And I'm grateful that they gave me a fair price. In return, I also purchased used lenses. I'm shooting on the 24-105 right now, and that I got used. Now, one thing I love about KEH is that they provide you with different levels of, I guess, how good a shape the gear is in. I always get the bargain every time because I'm cheap. And what I've come to know is that while sometimes the aesthetics of what you get from KEH in the bargain area is scratched up, or in some ways you can tell that it's received some mistreatment from a previous owner. It's, you know, par for the course, because that's how I am. The gear's going to receive the same punishment under my purview. So that actually works, but it's always functional. It always works perfectly. It's always great, even though it might have some ugliness on the outside. But I mean, this 24 to 105, I can't find anything wrong with it. Even though it's bargain, it's beautiful. Can't say the same for the 50, the 1.8 that I got. That one you can definitely tell why it's in the bargain, was in the bargain bin. But I got a great price from KEH. I paid for this my own money. While KEH does sponsor the video, I still buy my own gear from them, and these came out of my own pocket, full price, bargain price. And so I'm really grateful for them for helping me ease into this switch. And if you plan on switching gear at all yourself, KEH can ease the pain of the cost associated with doing so by helping you get those used products to make that transition a little bit easier on the pocketbook. So thanks, KEH. If any of you are interested in seeing a review of this new gear that I have, the Canon EOS R6 II, that's new to me. It's relatively new for everyone. I know there's probably a million reviews out there still, but if you'd like to hear my perspective, I'd be happy to give it. One thing that I'll be interested in is seeing how durable it is. It's probably not as durable as the R5, just because it's the more budget version. But so I'll be curious, will it be able to survive the clumsiness that I bring to bear? And then, yeah, anything else Canon related. Plan to do some of that. And you know, I've thought about doing a review of this also, the Rhino Arc II. Now that I've been using it for over a year and I'm well acquainted with its shortcomings as well as its strengths, let me know if you're interested in hearing about that. But yeah, I think that about does it for now. Let me just look at my notes here and make sure. That's the other thing I damaged. I have a teleprompter. I often type out what I'm gonna say, so I'm more cohesive and I don't ramble. But you guessed it, I damaged it, I dropped it, and it's shattered. So I'm waiting for a new teleprompter. Yeah, I think that's it, folks. As always, I really appreciate your support, especially now that this is my full-time thing. So please hang in there with me. If you haven't subscribed, and really encourage you to do so. Yeah, but remember to do good with your cameras, and we'll talk to you again real soon.